Hello and welcome back to Brendan Moir's Playwright Corner, where I read plays, poems, or whatever's currently striking my fancy at the moment. Today we're going to be taking a bit of a detour from our W.B. Yeats marathon as we've been kind of going on and read some poems for the season. Today we're going to be reading some of Alfred Tennyson's poems. Tennyson was a United Kingdom playwright in the early 1800s all the way up until the late 1800s. And today we're going to be reading a collection of his entitled, at least in my edition, Juvenilia. Claribel. Where Claribel low lieth, the breeze pause and die, letting the rose leaves fall. But the solemn oak tree sigheth, thick-leaved ambrosial, with an ancient melody of an inward agony. Where Claribel low lieth. At eve the beetle boometh, antwert the thicket lone. At noon the wild bee hummeth about the mossed headstone. At midnight the moon cometh, and looketh down alone. Her song the lint white swelleth, the clear-voiced mavis dwelleth, the callow throstle lispeth, the slumberous wave outwelleth. The babbling runnel crispeth, the hollow grot replieth, where Claribel low lieth. Nothing will die. When will the stream be aweary of flowing under my eye? When will the wind be aweary of blowing over the sky? When will the clouds be aweary of fleeting? When will the heart be aweary of beating, and nature die? Never, oh never, nothing will die. The stream flows, the wind blows, the cloud fleets, the heart beats. Nothing will die. Nothing will die. All things will change through eternity. 'Tis the world's winter. Autumn and summer are gone long ago. Earth is dry to the center, but spring, a newcomer, a spring rich and strange, shall make the winds blow round and round, through and through, here and there, till the air and the ground shall be filled with life anew. The world was never made. It will change, but it will not fade. So let the wind range, for even and morn ever will be through eternity. Nothing was born. Nothing will die. All things will change. All things will die. Clearly the blue river chimes in its flowing under my eye. Warmly and broadly the south winds are blowing over the sky. One after another the white clouds are fleeting. Every heartless May morning in joyance is beating, full, merrily. Yet all things must die. The stream will cease to flow. The wind will cease to blow. The clouds will cease to fleet. The heart will cease to beat. For all things must die. All things must die. Spring will come nevermore. Oh, vanity! Death waits at the door. See, our friends are all forsaking the wine and the merrymaking. We are called. We must go. Lay low, very low. In the dark we must lie. The merry glees are still. The voice of the birds shall no more be heard, nor the wind on the hill. Oh, misery! Hark! Death is calling when I speak to ye. The jaw is falling, the red cheek paling, the strong limbs failing, ice with the warm blood mixing, the eyeballs fixing. 9 times goes the passing bell. Ye merry souls, farewell. The old earth had a birth, as all men know long ago, and the old earth must die. So let the warm winds range, and the blue wave beat the shore. For even and morn ye will never see through eternity. All things were born. Ye will come nevermore. for all things must die. Leonine Elegiacs. Low flowing breezes are roaming, the broad valley dimmed in the gloaming. Through the black-stemmed pines only the far river shines, creeping through blossomy rushes and bowers of rose-blowing bushes. Down by the poplar tall rivulets babble and fall. Barketh the shepherd dog cheerly, the grasshopper caroleth clearly. Deeply the wood dove coos, shrilly the owlet halloos. Winds creep, dews fall chilly, in her first sleep earth breathes stilly. Over the pools and the burn, the water gnats murmur and mourn. Sadly the far kine loweth, the glimmering water outfloweth. Twin peaks shadowed with pine slope to the dark high line. Low-throned Hesper is stayed between the two peaks, but the Naiad, throbbing in mild unrest, holds him beneath in her breast. The ancient poetess singeth that Hesperus all things bringeth, smoothing the wearied mind. Bring me my love, Rosalind. Thou comest morning or even. She cometh not morning or even. False-eyed Hesper unkind, where is my sleet Rosalind? Supposed confessions of a second-rate sensitive mind. O God, my God, have mercy now! I faint, I fall. Men say that thou didst die for me, for such as me, patient of ill and death and scorn, and that my sin was as a thorn among the thorns that girt thy brow, wounding thy soul. That even now, in this extremest misery of ignorance, I should require a sign, and if a bolt of fire would rive the slumberous summer moon, while I do pray to thee alone, think my belief would stronger grow. Is not my human pride brought low? The boastings of my spirit still, the joy I had in my free will, all cold and dead and corpse-like grown? And what is left to me but thou, and faith in thee? Men pass me by, Christians with happy countenances, and children all seem full of thee. And women smile with saint-like glances, like thine own mother's when she bowed above thee on that happy morn, when the angels spake to men aloud, and thou and peace to earth were born. Goodwill to me as well as all, I one of them, my brothers they, brothers in Christ, a world of peace and confidence, day after day. And trust and hope till things should cease, and then when heaven receive us all, how sweet to have a common faith, to hold a common scorn of death. And at a burial to hear the creaking chords which wound and eat into my human heart whene'er earth goes to earth with grief, not fear, with hopeful grief, were passing sweet. Thrice happy state again to be, the trustful infant on the knee, who let his rosy fingers play about his mother's neck and nose. Nothing beyond his mother's eye. They comfort him by night and day. They light his little life away. He hath no thought of coming woes. He hath no care of life or death. Scarce outward signs of joy arise, because the spirit of happiness and perfect rest so inward is, and loveth so his innocent heart, her temple and her place of birth, where she would ever wish to dwell, life of the fountain there beneath, its salient springs, and far apart, hating to wander out on earth, or breathe into the hollow air, whose chillness would make visible her subtle, warm, and golden breath, which mixing with the infant's blood fills him with beatitude. Oh, sure, if a special care of God to fortify from doubt, to arm in proof and guard about with triple mailed trust and clear delight, the infant's dawning year Would that my gloomed fancy were as thine, my mother, when with brows prompt on thy knees, my hands upheld, in thine I listened to thy vows. For me outpoured in holiest prayer, for me unworthy, and beheld thy mild deep eyes unpraised that knew the beauty and repose of faith, and the clear spirit shining through. Oh, wherefore do we grow awry from roots which strike so deep? Why dare paths in the desert? Could not I bow myself down where thou hast knelt, to the earth until the ice would melt here, and I feel as thou hast felt? What devil had the heart to scathe flowers thou hadst reared to brush the dew from thine own lily when thy grave was deep, my mother, in the clay? Myself, is it thus? Myself had I so little love for thee? But why prevailed not thy pure prayers? Why pray to one who heeds not, who can save, but will not? Great in faith and strong against the grief of circumstance wert thou, and yet unheard? What if thou pleadest still, and seest me drive, thou utter dark, a full-sailed skiff, unpiloted I through the echoing dance of reboundant whirlwinds, stooping low upon the death not sunk? I know at matins and at evensong that thou, if thou wert yet alive, in deep and daily prayers would strive to reconcile me with thy God. Albeit my hope is grey and cold, at heart thou wouldst murmur still, bring this lamb back into thy fold, my Lord, if so it be thy will. Thou wouldst tell me I must brook the rod and chastisement of human pride, that pride the sin of devils stood betwixt me and the light of God. That hitherto I had defied and had rejected God, that grace would drop from his or brimming love, as manna in my wilderness. If I would pray that God would move and strike the hard rock, and thence, sweet in their utmost bitterness, would issue ears of penitence, would keep Green's hope alive. Alas, I think that pride hath now no place, no sojourn in me. I am void, dark, formless, utterly destroyed. Why not believe them? Why not yet anchor thy frailty there where man hath moored and rested? Ask the sea at midnight when the crisp slope waves after a tempest rib and fret the broad embassed beach, why he slumbers not like a mountain tarn, whereupon his ridges are not curls and ripples of an inland mere. Wherefore he moaneth thus, nor can draw down into his vexed pools all the blue heaven which hues and paves the other. I am too forlorn, too shaken, my own weakness fools my judgment, and my spirit whirls, moved with doubt and fear. Yet say I, in my morn of youth, the unsunned freshness of my strength, when I went forth in quest of truth, it is man's privilege to doubt, if so be that from doubt at length truth may stand forth unmoved of change, an image with profulgent brows, and perfect limbs, as from the storm of running fires and fluid range, of lawless airs at last stood out, this excellence and solid form of constant beauty. For the ox feeds in the herb and sleeps or fills the horned valleys all about, the hollows of the fringed hills in summer heats with placid lows, unfearing, till his own blood flows above his hoof. And in the flocks the lamb rejoiceth in the year, and raceth freely with his fear, an answer to his mother's calls from the flowered furrow, in a time of which he wots not run short pains through his warm heart, and then from whence he knows not on his light there falls a shadow, and his native slope, where he was wont to leap and climb, floats from his sick and filmed eyes, and something in the darkness draws his forehead earthward, and he dies. Shall man live thus, in joy and hope, as a young lamb who cannot dream, living but that he shall live on? Shall we not look into the laws of life and death and things that seem, all things that be, and analyze our double nature, and compare all creeds till we have found the one? If one there be, me, I fear, all may not doubt, but everywhere some must clasp idols. Yet my God, whom call I idol? Let thy dove shadow me over, and my sins be unremembered, and thy love enlighten me. Oh, teach me yet, somewhere before the heavy clod weighs on me, and the busy fret of that sharp-headed worm begins, in the gross blackness underneath. O weary life, O weary death, O spirit and heart made desolate, O damned vacillating state. The Kraken. Below the thunders of the upper deep, far, far beneath in the abysmal sea, his ancient, dreamless, uninvaded sleep, the Kraken sleepeth. Faintest sunlights flee about his shadowy sides. Above him swell huge sponges of millennial growth and height, and far away into the sickly light, from many a wondrous grot and secret cell, unnumbered and enormous polypi, winnow with great arms the slumbering green. There hath he lain for ages, and will lie, battening upon the huge sea worms in his sleep, until the latter fire shall heat the deep. Then once by man and angels to be seen, in roaring he shall rise, and on the surface die. Song. The winds, as at their hour of birth, leaning upon the rigid sea, breathe low around the rolling earth with mellow preludes. We are free. The streams, through many a lilied row, down caroling to the crisped sea, low tinkled with a bell-like flow, atween the blossoms. We are free. Lillian. 1. Airy fairy Lillian, flitting fairy Lillian, when I ask her if she loves me, clasps her tiny hands above me, laughing all she can. She'll not tell me if she loves me. Cruel little Lillian. 2. When my passion seeks pleasance in love's sighs, she looks through and through me, thoroughly to undo me, smiling never speaks. So innocent arch, so cunning simple, from beneath her gathered wimple, glancing with black-beaded eyes, to the lightning laughter's dimple, the baby roses in her cheeks. Then away she flies. 3. Prithee weep, May Lillian. Gaiety without eclipse wearieth me, May Lillian. Through my very heart it thrilleth, when from crimson threaded lips silver treble laughter trilleth. Prithee weep, May Lillian. 4. Praying all I can, if prayers will not hush thee, airy Lillian, like a rose leaf I will crush thee, fairy Lillian. Isabel. 1. Eyes not down-dropped, nor over-bright, but fed with the clear-pointed flame of chastity, clear, without heat, undying, tended by pure vestal thoughts in the translucent vein of her still spirit, locks not wide dispread, Madonna-wise on either side her head, sweet lips whereupon perpetually did reign the summer calm of golden charity, where fixed shadows of thy fixed mood, reverend Isabel, the crown and head, the stately flower of female fortitude, of perfect wifehood, and pure lowlihead. 2. The intuitive decision of a bright and thorough-edged intellect to part, error from crime, a prudence to withhold, the laws of marriage charactered in gold, upon the blanched tablets of her heart. A love still burning upward, giving light, to read those laws in accent very low, in blandishment, but a most silver flow of subtle-paced counsel in distress. right to the heart and brain, though undescried, winning its way with extreme gentleness. Through all the outworks of suspicious pride, a courage to endure and to obey, a hate of gossip, parlance, and of sway, crowned Isabel through all her placid life, the queen of marriage, a most perfect wife. 3. The mellowed reflex of a winter moon, a clear stream flowing with a muddy one, till in its onward current it absorbs, with swifter movement and in a purer light, the vexed eddies of its wayward brother. A leaning and upbearing parasite, clothing the stem, which else had fallen quite, with clustered flower bells and ambrosial orbs, of rich fruit bunches leaning on each other. Shadow forth the world hath not another, though all her fairest forms are types of these, and thou of God in thy great charity of such a finished, chastened purity. Mariana. Mariana in the moated grange, measure for measure. With blackest moss the flower pots were thickly crusted, one and all. The rusted nails fell from the knots that held the pair to the gable wall. The broken sheds looked sad and strange, unlifted was the clinking latch. Weeded and worn the ancient thatch upon the lonely moated grange. She only said, "My life is dreary, he cometh not," she said. She said, "I am aweary, I would that I were dead." Her tears fell with the dews at e'en, her tears fell ere the dews were dried. She could not look on the sweet heaven, either at morn or eventide. After the flitting of the bats, when thickest dark did trance the sky, she drew her casement curtain by, and glanced athwart the glooming flats. She only said, "The night is dreary, he cometh not," she said. She said, "I am aweary, I would that I were dead." Upon the middle of the night, waking she heard the night fowl crow. The cock sung out an hour ere light, from the dark fen the oxen's low came to her, without hope of change. In sleep she seemed to walk forlorn, till cold winds woke the grey-eyed morn about the lonely moated grange. She only said, "The day is dreary, he cometh not," she said. She said, "I am aweary, I would that I were dead." About a stone cast from the wall, a sluice with blackened waters slept, and o'er it many round and small the clustered marish mosses crept. Hard by poplar shook alway, all silver green and gnarled bark, for leagues no other tree did mark the level waste, the rounding grey. She only said, "My life is dreary, he cometh not," she said. She said, "I am aweary, I would that I were dead." And ever when the moon was low, and the shrill winds were up and away, in the white curtain to and fro she saw the gusty shadows sway. But when the moon was very low, and wild winds bound within their cell, the shadow of the poplar fell upon her bed, across her brow. She only said, "The night is dreary, he cometh not," she said. She said, "I am aweary, I would that I were dead." All day within the dreamy house, the doors upon their hinges creaked. The blue fly sung in the pane, the mouse behind the mouldering wainscot shrieked. Or from the crevice peered about, old faces glimmered through the doors. Old footsteps trod the upper floors, old voices called her from without. She only said, "My life is dreary, he cometh not," she said. She said, "I am aweary, I would that I were dead." The sparrows chirrup on the roof, the slow clock ticking and the sound, which to the wooing wind aloof the poplar made, did all confound her sense. But most she loathed the hour, when the thick modded sunbeam lay, and toward the chambers, and the day was sloping towards his western bower. Then she said, "I am very dreary, he will not come," she said. She wept, "I am aweary. Oh God, that I were dead." Two. 1. Clear-headed friend whose joyful scorn, edged with sharp laughter, cuts atwain the knots that tangle human creeds, the wounding cords that bind and strain the heart until it bleeds. Ray-fringed eyelids of the morn, roof not a glance so keen as thine. If aught of prophecy be mine, thou wilt not live in vain. 2. Low cowering shall the sophist sit. Falsehood shall bear her plated brow. Fair front truth shall droop not now with shrilling shafts of subtle wit. Nor martyr flames, nor trenchant swords can do away that ancient lie. A gentler death shall falsehood die, shot through and through with cunning words. 3. Weak truth a-leaning to her crutch, wan wasted truth in her utmost need, thy kingly intellect shall feed until she be an athlete bold, and weary with a finger's touch those writhing limbs of lightning speed, like that strange angel which of old, until the breaking of the light, wrestled with wandering Israel past Yabok brook the livelong night, and heaven's maze sign stood still in the dim tract of Penuel. Madeline. 1. Thou art not steeped in golden languors, no trance summer calm is thine, ever varying Madeline. Through light and shadow thou dost range sudden glances sweet and strange, delicious spites and darling angers, and airy forms of flitting change. 2. Smiling, frowning evermore, thou art perfect in love lore. Revealings deep and clear are thine, of wealthy smiles, but who may know whether smile or frown be fleeter, whether smile or frown be sweeter? Who may know? Frowns perfect sweet along the brow, light glooming over eyes divine, like little clouds sun-fringed are thine, ever varying Madeline. Thy smile and frown are not aloof from one another, each to each his dearest brother. Hues of the silken, sheeny woof momentarily shot into each other. All mystery is thine. Smiling, frowning evermore, thou art perfect in love lore, ever varying Madeline. 3. A subtle, sudden flame, by veering passion fanned, about thee breaks and dances when I would kiss thy hand. The flush of angered shame o'erthrows thy calmer glances, and o'er black brows drops down a sudden curved frown. But when I turn away, thou, willing me to stay, wooest not nor vainly wranglest, but looking fixedly the while, all my bounding heart entanglest in a golden netted smile. Then in madness and in bliss, if my lips should dare to kiss thy taper fingers amorously, again thou blushest angrily, and o'er black brows drops down a sudden curved frown. Song. The Owl. When cats run home and light is come, and dew is cold upon the ground, and the far-off stream is dumb, and the whirling sails go round, and the whirling sails go round, alone and warming his 5 wits, the white owl in the belfry sits. When merry milkmaids click the latch, and rarely smells the new morn hay, and the cock hath sung beneath the thatch twice or thrice his roundelay, alone and warming his 5 wits, the white owl in the belfry sits. Second song. To the same. Thy to wits are lulled, I wot, thy to woos of yesternight, which upon the dark afloat, so took echo with delight, that her voice, untuneful grown, wears all day a fainter tone. I would mock thy chaunt anew, but I cannot mimic it. Not a whit of thy to woo, thee to woo to thy to wit, thee to woo to thy to wit, with a lengthened loud halloo, to woo to wit, to woo ooh ooh. Recollections of the Arabian Nights. When the breeze of a joyful dawn blew free in the silken sail of infancy, the tide of time flowed back with me, the forward-flowing tide of time. And many a sheeny summer morn, adown the Tigris I was born, by Baghdad shrines of fretted gold, high-walled gardens green and old, true Mussulman was I and sworn, for it was in the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid, A night my shallop rustling through the low and bloomed foliage drove, the fragrant glistening deeps and clove the citron shadows in the blue. By garden porches, on the brim, the costly doors flung open wide, gold glittering through lamplight dim, and broidered sofas on each side. In sooth, it was a goodly time, for it was in the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid. Often where clean-stemmed platans guard, the outlet did I turn away, the boat head down a broad canal from the main river sluiced, where all the sloping of the moonlight sward was damask work and deep inlay, of braided blooms unmown which crept adown to where the water slept. A goodly place, a goodly time, for it was in the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid. A motion from the river won, ridge the smooth level bearing on my shallop through the star-strown calm, until another night in night I entered. From the clear light, embowered vaults of pillars palm, imprisoning suites which, as they clomb heavenward, were stayed beneath the dome of hollow boughs, a goodly time, for it was in the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid. Still onward, and the clear canal is rounded as clear a lake. From the green rivage many a fall of diamond rillets musical, through little crystal arches low, down from the central fountains flow, fallen silver chiming seem to shake the sparkling fence beneath the prow. A goodly place, a goodly time, for it was in the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid. Above through many a bowery turn, a walk with vari-coloured shells, wandered, ingrained, on either side, all round about the fragrant marge, from fluted vase and brazen urn in order, eastern flowers large, some dropping low their crimson bells, half closed and others studded wide. With discs and tiaras fed the time with odour in the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid. Far off, and where the lemon grove in closest coverture upsprung, the living airs of middle night died round the bulbul as he sung. Not he, but something which possessed the darkness of the world delight. Life, anguish, death, immortal love, ceasing not mingled unrepressed. Apart from place, withholding time, but flattering the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid. Black the garden bowers and grots slumbered, the solemn palms were ranged, above unwooed of summer wind. A sudden splendour from behind flushed all the leaves with rich gold green, and flowing rapidly between their interspaces counterchanged the level lake with diamond plots of dark and bright, a lovely time, for it was in the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid. Dark blue the deep sphere overhead, distinct with vivid stars inlaid, grew darker from that under flame, so leaping lightly from the boat, with silver anchor left afloat, in marvel whence that glory came upon me, as in sleep I sank, in cool soft turf upon the bank, entranced with that place and time, so worthy of the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid. Thence through the garden I was drawn, a realm of pleasance, many a mound, and many a shadow-checkered lawn, full of the city's stilly sound, and deep myrrh thickets blowing round, the stately cedar tamarisks, thick rosaries of scented thorn, tall orient shrubs, and obelisks, graven with emblems of the time, in honour of the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid. With dazed visions unawares, from the long alley's lattice shade, emerged I came upon the great pavilion of the Caliphate. Right to the carven cedern doors, flung inward over spangled floors, broad-based flights of marble stairs ran up with golden balustrade, after the fashion of the time, and humour of the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid. The 80 windows all alight, as with the quintessence of flame, a million tapers flaring bright, from twisted silvers looked to shame, the hollow vaulted dark and streamed upon the moon domes aloof, in inmost Baghdad, till there seemed hundreds of crescents on the roof. of night new risen, that marvellous time to celebrate the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid. Then stole I up, and trancedly gazed on the Persian girl alone, serene with argent-lidded eyes, amorous, and lashes like rays of darkness, and a brow of pearl, tressed with redolent ebony, in many a dark, delicious curl flowing beneath her rose-hued zone. The sweetest lady of the time, well worthy of the golden prime of good Harun al-Rashid. 6 columns, 3 on either side, pure silver underpropped a rich throne of the massive ore, from which down drooped in many a floating fold, and garland and diapered with inwrought flowers, a cloth of gold. Thereon his deep eye laughter stirred, with merriment of kingly pride. Sole star of all that place and time, I saw him in his golden prime, the good Harun al-Rashid.